I was planning on releasing a Q&A video today, and I was going to do a more traditional style Q&A where I would read off all of your questions and answer most of them, or as many as I could get to. And I tried that, and it did not go well. It was fine. Your questions are fine. My answers were bad, but it just felt not good. It felt, I don't know, a little too artificial and a little too lonely for me and for my liking, and I just didn't feel comfortable putting something out like that. So what I decided was, instead of going through each question individually and answering all of them, that I would look at the trends in the questions that you asked, look at some of the more common questions, and then just do a sort of unscripted video essay where I try to answer some of those big questions in a more long form sort of way, and cover most of what you all seem interested in learning about me. So I'm sorry if this isn't the kind of thing that you were looking for. This style of thing is more me. This feels better. This feels a little bit more like real and authentic. I think it's better for all of us if I do it this way, and can be a little bit more real. So consider this less of a Q&A video and more of an introductory video where I'm using your questions as a springboard, as like a jumping off point for giving you a look behind the curtain. And yeah, I hope that this does all those things that you would want a Q&A video to do, but gives me a little bit less existential dread. So one of the most common questions that I saw was about my teaching, whether it was about the kind of stuff that I teach, or the stuff that I can't teach, or that I say that I'm not really allowed to teach, or the differences between teaching and doing YouTube. And so that's the first big thing that I want to talk about. So the thing about teaching is that when you go from one teaching job to another, you need to have a teaching philosophy. And your teaching philosophy is basically just the guiding principles and values that you have as an educator that help to steer the direction that you teach and the kinds of policies that you implement in your classroom. And so for me as a teacher, I had to create this teaching philosophy. And for me, my teaching philosophy has always been centered around transparency and kindness and respect. Because I think that those are three of the most important things that educators can have, because you have to be willing to open up as a human being before your students will open up as human beings. So let's start at the beginning. So when I was in undergrad, right after I graduated high school, I actually started out as a biology major. About at the end of my freshman year, I realized that I was pretty much miserable in my biology and chemistry classes. And I had a moment where I realized I'd always been good at English. I've always enjoyed English. I love writing. And I had never seriously considered it because, you know, being an English major is kind of not a good idea as far as like long-term career planning. But I realized that I couldn't continue doing something that made me miserable, and I had to follow where I found joy, and that was with reading and writing. So I changed majors, transferred schools, and became an English major. And then I started to look at graduate schools. And the program that I was accepted into was at a Midwest private Catholic university. And this school offered me a teaching assistantship as part of my sort of package going there. And what that meant is they would pay for my graduate degree if I taught a few classes each semester. And so I did that. And I had never seriously considered teaching as a career. What I wanted to do was actually political speech writing, which was, maybe a poor choice. But I started teaching at this university, and I fell in love. It was something that I enjoyed, and it was hard, but it was worth it. And no matter how many days I came home exhausted and sometimes frustrated and sad even, I always wanted to go back and solve those problems. Every time I encountered a problem with teaching, I would come home, and that is all that I could think about at home, was helping my students and doing more research to help my teaching practice. But that was the start of my teaching career. And then after I graduated, COVID hit, and I had to find a job. I had no idea what I was going to do. And I eventually started working for a community college. I now teach English at the community college level, and I love these students even more. They are wonderful. They're great, and I love it here. So your question might be, all right, so if you like teaching so much, why do YouTube? What actually started this YouTube journey? The spring that COVID hit, so about a year ago, I was teaching on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it was Tuesday that the school announced that at the end of that day, they would be going to fully online courses. And what that meant was that I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my students. And these were kids that I'd spent, only like 2 months with, month and a half or so. But not being able to say goodbye, not being able to talk to them or talk about any of the just wild stuff that was happening with all of the COVID lockdown stuff, that messed me up for a while. And even now it's kind of hard to talk about because it broke my heart to not be able to be there for my students, like physically be there with them and talk through things. And I think it's related to why I struggled so much with this Q&A video, is because the way I am as a person is I don't really like communicating with people like virtually. And it's different from doing the normal video essays because that's not really like talking to a person or answering a person's questions. But doing those things to a camera feels soulless to me. Like it hurts my heart to do those things. And so teaching online, being sort of forced to teach online suddenly last year, was like heart-wrenching. I had a lot of sort of existential questions about like, what am I doing? What am I actually putting into this world? What am I actually contributing to humanity? And out of those questions came the idea, well, if I can't teach them, maybe I can reach out and help teach other people. And that's when I came up with the idea of starting a YouTube channel. Now, clearly, if you go back and look, my uploads didn't start last March. They started this past October. So what happened in that 6-month period? Well, I actually started out wanting to do a purely educational, here's how to write an essay kind of channel. And I tried going that direction for a little while. I tried writing scripts. I tried, coming up with a good channel name and stuff like that. And it wasn't me. I was not super happy. And then in the fall, when I started teaching at the community college that I'm currently at, I sat down with my husband and said, hey, I want to do this YouTube stuff, but I don't know. It doesn't feel right, and I don't know how to make it feel right. And I just kind of asked him to help me think through what it was that I really wanted to get out of this, and then how to get that. And he said, he's very pragmatic, very practical. He said, okay, if this is what you want to do, we need to do it right. So he worked with me, and we got like lighting stuff, we got a camera, we pooled our resources and really created what I think was a really solid starting point. And it was scary, but putting out those first few videos was a very important step. And even though I was shouting into the void, the empty nothingness of the internet when you don't have any subscribers or followers, I eventually got a few comments, got a few likes, got a few subscribers, and now here I am. Now, some of you have asked me a few questions about how I come up with ideas. And as I'm sure many of you have noticed, my style is very similar to that of a lot of other bread tubers. I hate that term. I don't know why. It kind of causes me to cringe on the inside. Anyway, you know the group. Very similar content. And that is true, that I do talk about a lot of similar kinds of things as many of those creators. But for me, a lot of the ideas come from things that I already know about and that I already care about. And what that means is that there's a lot of intersection between social issues, social justice issues, and things that have to do with reading and writing that I studied in graduate school. And that intersection of those two areas is what this channel is based on. And the way that I come up with ideas more specifically is I have sort of like a litmus test that I run these ideas through. The idea needs to have enough material that I can actually make a, 10 to 30 minute video, depending on the topic, about it. It needs to not have too much, because if it's super overwhelming, it's never going to get done. I'm not going to be happy with it. It's going to take 1,000 hours to render and upload, and I just don't have time for that. And it needs to be something that other content creators in that realm have not talked about before. And that's not to say that I can't talk about anything that, Thought Slime or ContraPoints or Shawn or whoever have talked about, because there are some angles that, my perspective is unique on, or at least unique in this space online. And there is value in talking about things and looking at things from different angles, and that's important. But if other people have done things better than I ever could, or if they've said things in a way that, I don't have anything to add to the conversation, then I don't choose those. So for that, that's sort of how I come up with ideas. And then turning ideas into videos is a whole other thing. So I start with an idea. Sometimes I already have books on it. Sometimes I already have research papers, like these bins down here. One of them is filled with all of the research papers or like articles that I read in grad school. So I have a lot of sources. So usually the first thing that I do is I find the sources that I have, read through them or reread through them, And then if I think that I need something supplemental, I go online, I figure out what people online have as far as sources, whether it's articles or books or whatever. And then I gather everything up. I spend a week or two doing nothing but reading and annotating sources. And then I start to write my script. And the writing process is complicated. And it's something that I actually plan on doing a whole video on here in the next month or so. But that's going to be a big project, kind of experimental, kind of weird. Hopefully you are all looking forward to that, because I have some very exciting things planned for that video. But the writing process, as far as writing the scripts, can take anywhere from a few days to a month. I mean, it really depends on the subject and how much I already know and how confident I am. And I'm still learning and growing as far as like what you all want and what actually makes a good video essay. I'm still sort of figuring that out, and I think I will be figuring that out for a while. I don't think it's something you learn overnight. But so stacks and stacks of books is how ideas turn into videos. A lot of you also asked about future ideas and where I want to go from here and what the sudden growth in popularity and subscriber count has kind of done to me. And you are all very curious about that. So let's talk about the Thought Slime shout out. I submitted my channel to the place that shall not be named on a whim. I had been thinking about it ever since I started my channel, but I knew that I wanted to wait until after I had made something that I was extremely confident in and very proud of, and that I felt was a good representation of the kind of content that I wanted to make. I actually sent it just a few weeks before I got the shout out, and I had no expectations, no idea of how long it would take, if they even chose my channel to be one that was featured. And so it was kind of a surprise, I mean, a pleasant surprise, but a surprise to be featured so early after I had sent in my channel and information and stuff. That weekend I had actually, my husband and I had gone back home to visit his parents. So we were in the car driving the several hours back to his parents' house. And that entire time I was just refreshing the YouTube Studio app to just see the number of subscribers and comments. And it was wild and exciting and terrifying and thrilling and validating and exciting. And I'm so grateful for the whole little community that has popped up here. All of my little gremlins, all of my wonderful, wonderful people here. I'm thankful for each and every one of you. But, so, a few of you have asked if I feel like that's going to change the content that I make, or if I feel like pressured to change things. And I really want to say no, because I like to think that like I'm self-aware enough to know, don't let the mob of viewers tell you what to do. But I also am very much a people pleaser. I have a whole video about that is coming out probably a week or two after this. And so it's hard for me to see a lot of the suggestions and see a lot of the, well, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And not just immediately say yes and change what I'm doing and what I want to do. It's really hard to not want to do that, because ultimately all I want to do is help people and make other people happy. And it's really scary to think that I might be doing things that people don't like. And that's part of the uncomfortable part of this job, is knowing that not everybody is going to like what you make. But I think what I've come to realize, and what my YouTube philosophy is compared to my teaching philosophy, is that I know that I'm not making stuff for everyone. I know that what I make isn't going to reach everyone. I know that what I make isn't going to be liked by everyone. And I have to be okay with that. And I know that if I make my goal with this channel to be liked by everyone, I'm going to fail. Like, you can't do that. So I think what my goal is instead is not to offer answers to everyone. Not to try to, pull people even further in a particular direction. But instead, what I want to do is to be for other people what I needed when I was younger. My views and my personal philosophy have changed a lot over the past, 15 years or whatever, since I was a child. And I've had a few questions about that. And I'm not going to name any theories or philosophies or parties or anything. But basically, I have changed and evolved. And with every change I make and every decision that I make, I always choose the option that is more compassionate and has more empathy and care and kindness and forgiveness. And that is what has helped me move and change and evolve as a person. And what I needed when I was younger and going through some of these changes was someone to be patient and understanding and kind and, cozy with cute sweaters and cuddly cats. And I needed that person to answer the dumb questions, to answer the questions that I was afraid to ask other people. I wanted somebody to show me where I was wrong without telling me I was wrong. And to tell me that it's okay to question things, and it's okay to be uncertain, and it's okay to change your mind about things. And that is what I want to do here. I'm not here to offer answers. I'll try when I think I have the answers, but that's not my goal. My goal isn't to offer answers. It's to tell you that it's okay to ask questions, and to tell you that it's okay to not be sure, and to tell you that it's okay to move and change and evolve. And I want you to know that I will be here to help you through those things and to help you do those things with as much kindness and patience and empathy as I have, which I think is a lot. I've been told I'm nice. I don't know. That was a humble brag. I don't know why I did that. Maybe I'm not nice. I don't know. So that's who I'm trying to be. And I don't actually know if I am any of those things, or if I'm close to any of those things, or if that's just kind of the ideal and where I'm going with things. I'm still very new to this, and I'm still learning, and I'm still figuring out who I want to be and what I want to make. And it means more to me than I can put into words that you all have been so kind and understanding. And I try, both here and especially on Twitter, to be very transparent about these growing pains, these challenges that you face as a new creator and a new person with 37,000 subscribers. And it's scary, and I'm trying to be transparent, just like I am with my teaching, with my YouTube content. And part of that transparency means that you see the failures, and you see the places where I mess up and the places where I think something is a great idea and then it just totally bombs, and the places where I want to do something, start to do it, and then for my own sake, stop, go back to the drawing board and try again. And that's sort of what I did with this video. I wanted to answer all of your questions. I wanted to, do that YouTube thing and make sure that I'm engaging with all of my audience members, all of my viewers. But it felt wrong for me. It didn't feel like me. And I didn't want to put something out there that was half-assed and that you could tell that I was not feeling it. And so this is what I've done instead. I do have notes here. I mean, a single, little notebook page of notes, but because I felt like it wouldn't work if it were scripted. It had to be real and authentic. And I realize that I'm rambling, and this is why I script things, because this is, I can't do words. So yeah, I hope that answered every single question that all of you had. But I do hope that it helped you see behind the curtain a little bit and see the face behind the video essays and the person behind that face. And I hope that you keep watching and that I can keep giving you things and showing you things and introducing you to things that are interesting and exciting and new and that help you to be the best people that you can be. Because that is my goal, is to help you be the best people you can be, help me be the best person I can be, and hopefully through those things help to spread a little bit of kindness and a little bit of happiness wherever we go and I've lost this sentence. Anyway, pineapple does belong on pizza. If you don't think so, you are weak and your bloodline is weak and you won't survive the winter. All right, but seriously, folks, I do think pineapple belongs on pizza, but I hope that was enlightening. And until next time, stay safe, stay warm, and I will see y'all again soon, I hope. Bye, folks. Did I cover everything? I think I did. All right. Okay. So this is Charlie, or Charles. He, I don't think he's showed up quite a bit, but he usually walks around back there. You can tell that it's him because he's littler and he has a collar that has his name on it. He's a love bug, also kind of a pain in the ass, just less of a pain in the ass. Go on. And then this one is Desmond. He's the one that you all have met already. He's the one who likes to hop in my lap and hop on the back of the chair and get fur all over me now. Thank you. That's wonderful.